Okay, imagine a clock that could run forever without a single battery. Or picture a material that moves in this perfect, repeating rhythm just forever. Now, that might sound like something straight out of science fiction, but it is very, very real. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most mind-bending discoveries in all of modern physics, time crystals. We're going to explore this brand new phase of matter that seems to defy the known laws of the universe and could totally change how we think about time itself.
So we all get what a regular crystal is, right? Think of a diamond, or a snowflake, or even just salt. Their atoms are arranged in this really stubborn repeating pattern. They have order in space. But what if matter could do the exact same thing, not in space, but in time? What if a bunch of atoms could lock into a stubborn repeating pattern of motion, an endless pulse, forever? Well, that's the wild, incredible idea behind a time crystal. And this leads us to a really mind-bending question. Could you actually have an object that moves and returns to its original state on a perfect repeating schedule and do it indefinitely with absolutely zero energy input? A kind of perpetual clock that you never ever have to wind? It sounds impossible, right? And for a long time, physicists thought so too. So let's dig into where this completely revolutionary idea came from and why, at first, it really seemed like it was breaking the fundamental laws of physics. Okay, so the whole concept was first floated back in 2012 by the Nobel Prize-winning physicist Frank Wilczek. And he asked this really simple but incredibly profound question. We know crystals break spatial symmetry, right? The laws of physics are the same everywhere in empty space, but a crystal isn't. It picks specific spots for its atoms in a pattern. So Wilczek wondered, could a system spontaneously break time symmetry? Could it create a repeating pattern in time, even when the underlying laws of physics don't change at all? Now, this is where it gets really fascinating, because his initial idea sounded an awful lot like a perpetual motion machine. I mean, an object that just moves forever in its lowest energy state with no fuel. That's a huge red flag for physicists. It seems to violate the second law of thermodynamics, which basically tells us that systems, when you leave them alone, always tend toward more disorder, more randomness, not less. And sure enough, other physicists pretty quickly published what are called no-go theorems. And these were basically proofs showing that, nope, this kind of time crystal couldn't exist in a system that's just settled down into its lowest energy state, what scientists call thermal equilibrium. So, for a moment there, the whole idea looked like it was dead on arrival. But, and this is where the story takes such a brilliant turn, scientists found a loophole, a really clever one. The original idea was impossible for a system at rest, in equilibrium. But what if you took the system out of equilibrium? And this slide really illustrates the difference perfectly. A system in equilibrium, like a hot cup of coffee cooling down, is eventually just going to settle down, stop changing. But a system that you're constantly pushing or driving, say you're zapping it with a laser, well, that's never in equilibrium. And it turns out these driven systems can achieve a totally new kind of stable, ordered pattern without just heating up and dissolving into a chaotic mess. So this led to the recipe for a new, totally achievable kind of time crystal, the discrete or Floquet time crystal. The idea is so simple, but it's elegant. Just look at the steps here. First, you take a disordered quantum system. Then you kick it with a laser at a regular interval, let's say once every second. Now here's the magic. Instead of responding every second, the system spontaneously locks into a new, slower rhythm, and it only responds every 2 seconds. It breaks the time symmetry of your kicks, and it does all of this without absorbing any net energy from the laser. It's not a perpetual motion machine, but it is the next best thing. Okay, so we've got the theory, we've got the recipe, so now let's see how scientists actually took this mind-bending idea from the blackboard into a real laboratory. Because once they figured out that loophole, they actually started building them. And the progress was just unbelievably fast. I mean, just look at this timeline. The first real observations came in 2017. By 2021, Google's Sycamore quantum computer made a 20-qubit time crystal. Then came a 57-qubit version on an IBM machine. And just recently, in 2024, a team created a time crystal that stayed stable for an astounding 40 minutes. That is a gigantic leap from the milliseconds of the first experiments. This field is moving at absolute lightning speed. But how exactly are they creating these things on a quantum computer? This is where it gets really, really cool. You see, quantum computers use actual quantum particles, or qubits, to do their calculations. So programming those qubits to behave like a time crystal isn't just a simulation. It's the exact same thing as actually building this new phase of matter, atom by atom. So, okay, we've got this bizarre new phase of matter that oscillates in a perfect rhythm, seemingly forever. It's a stunning fundamental breakthrough for sure, but so what? What can we actually do with it? What are the practical applications here?
Well, the most promising applications by far are in the world of quantum computing. One of the biggest challenges for quantum computers is that qubits are unbelievably fragile. I mean, think of them like tiny little spinning tops that can get knocked over by the slightest breeze. But time crystals are defined by their rigidity. Their periodic rhythm is stubborn. It resists being knocked out of phase. And that means they could be used to build incredibly stable quantum memories or processors that just naturally shield qubits from errors.
And listen, this isn't just a theory. A recent experiment has already used the protective rhythm of a time crystal to act as a kind of safe house for really fragile quantum state, and it dramatically extended its lifetime. Time crystals are already becoming this powerful new tool for solving the error problem that has been plaguing quantum computing for decades. But the implications of this discovery go so far beyond technology. Time crystals are fundamentally changing how we think about the universe itself, and especially our understanding of time. For a really long time, physics has treated time as the odd one out, different from the three dimensions of space. As one physicist put it, time has always been kind of an outlier. But time crystals show us that time, just like space, can have structure, it can have order, it can have symmetry, it can form a crystal. It is a profound shift in how we understand the very fabric of reality. So the real key takeaway is this. We've gone on this incredible journey from an impossible idea that seemed to break all the rules to a clever loophole to a real object built on a quantum computer. This journey hasn't just given us a completely new phase of matter. It's forced us to rethink the fundamental nature of time, of order, of energy. And it leaves us with this provocative final thought. We found order in time where we thought none could possibly exist. So what other impossible things are just waiting out there for us to find the right loophole? The universe, it seems, is far, far stranger and more wonderful than we ever imagined.